Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've been with us for the last few sessions, you know we're not just talking about saving a few bucks on coffee or finding a better coupon app. We are in the middle of a very specific architectural teardown of how a person moves from a standard salaried existence, what we call the employee identity, to a place of genuine choice and asset ownership.
It's the fundamental shift from, working for money to building a system where money actually works for you. And to navigate this, we are using the Golden Path strategy.
Right. And before we get into the meat of today's focus, which is step 6, we really need to reestablish our map. We are basing this entire series on the work of Tamir Kaham. And I think for people jumping in fresh or maybe, stumbling upon this deep dive out of order, it's worth pausing on why we picked this specific roadmap.
It really comes down to the source. Tamir Kaham isn't some TV personality. He's a systems engineer. He is the architect behind the Golden Path, the Financial Independence channel on YouTube. But, and this is the fascinating twist, he is also the official Hebrew translator of The Richest Man in Babylon.
Which, it's arguably the oldest, most classic book on personal wealth ever written.
Exactly. So when you look at the Golden Path, you aren't just getting modern spreadsheets. You're getting this really unique hybrid. It's hardcore systems, engineering flowcharts, logic gates, safety margins, blended with financial wisdom that has been around for literal millennia.
It's engineering precision meets the wisdom of the ancients.
That's the perfect way to put it.
And that blend is so crucial because, as we're going to find out today, the math. The math often makes sense, but the human behavior part.
That's where things usually fall apart, 100%.
So, okay, let's orient ourselves. We are currently in episode 5 of our deep dive series. On the Golden Path map, we are zooming in on step 6.
Building a consistent saving habit.
Right. Where does this sit in the broader picture?
So if you recall our recurring metaphor, we are deep in the economic acceleration phase. If you remember that rocket launch analogy we've been using.
Yeah.
Stage 1 was building the launch pad, getting the mindset right. We are now deep in stage 2. We're in the launch sequence.
And in the last deep dive, we covered step 5, which was cash flow stabilization. We called that triage.
Right. Step 5 was stage 2 defense. It was about stopping the bleeding, plugging the leaks in the budget, stopping the overdrafts.
Okay.
It was sealing the fuel tank so it doesn't leak.
Yeah.
But step 6 is the turning point. This is where we turn on the pumps.
I love that visual because it explains the strict sequencing. I think a lot of people try to save money, pour fuel in the tank.
Before they've actually fixed their spending leak.
Exactly. And what happens?
It just drains out on the tarmac.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly demoralizing. You save $200, but because your budget is a mess, you have to pull it back out 2 weeks later.
Oh.
Step 6. Assume step 5 is done. The vessel is sealed. Now we fill it.
So let's get into the core conflict of this deep dive. I want to start with a paradox that I think frustrates a lot of people. We see the headlines all the time. Doctor making $250,000 a year, living paycheck to paycheck. And then you hear about a school teacher or a librarian who retires with $1 million.
The income fallacy.
Just feels like the math is broken. How can someone earning that much money be broke?
It feels broken because we're conditioned to believe that wealth is an income problem. We tell ourselves, if I just got that promotion, if I just made 20% more,
I'd be rich.
Exactly. But the data and Tamir's engineering perspective shows us that high income is actually just high velocity.
Unpack that. What do you mean by velocity here?
Think of your financial life like a car. Income is just how fast the engine spins.
Okay.
You can drive a car at 200 miles per hour, but if you're driving in a perfect circle, where do you end up?
Right back where you started, just with an empty tank and bald tires.
Exactly. Just burning gas faster. That is the high income, low net worth trap. You have high velocity, but zero displacement.
Right.
Wealth isn't determined by what you earn. It is entirely determined by what you keep. Step 6 is the pivot point where we stop looking at the speedometer and start looking at the map.
We have to build the muscle to actually keep the money.
That's it.
Okay, but here's where I want to push back a bit. I get the concept, but in practice, wouldn't a high earner naturally have more left over at the end of the month? It seems like it should be easier.
You would think so.
Yeah.
But that assumption ignores a fundamental law of human psychology called Parkinson's law.
I know Parkinson's law from productivity work expands to fill the time available.
And it applies perfectly to finance. Expenses always rise to match the available income.
Oh, I have felt that. You get a raise, and for like 2 months you feel rich, but then you get the slightly better apartment, you start ordering the appetizers instead of just the entree. You switch from domestic beer to craft cocktails.
And it happens almost unconsciously. The brain doesn't see surplus capital. The brain sees upgrade availability.
Right.
So when a listener says, and I know many are thinking this, I will save whatever's left at the end of the month, they're lying to themselves.
Because there's never anything left.
Correct. Waiting for extra money at the end of the month is like waiting for a train that isn't on the tracks. It's never coming.
Wow.
Without a system to trap that money before you see it, the default state of your lifestyle will always be zero surplus.
So we're fighting our own biology here.
We are fighting millions of years of evolution that says consume resources now while they are available.
So if we can't trust our willpower and we can't trust the surplus method, we have to engineer a solution. What does the Golden Path say we do?
We have to invert the fundamental equation of our lives. Most people operate on this equation. Income minus spending equals savings.
Which, as we just established, usually equals zero.
Right. The Golden Path requires a hard flip to income minus savings equals spending.
This is the famous pay yourself first principle, but I want to stop on that phrase because it has become such a cliche on, Instagram finance accounts. Pay yourself first, buy a latte, whatever. What does it actually mean in a systems engineering context?
It's about asset allocation. I mean, think about your monthly cycle. You get paid. Great. Then you pay your landlord.
Yeah.
You pay the local grocery chain. You pay the gas station. You pay Netflix. What are you actually doing?
I'm paying for services. I need a roof and food.
True.
Oh.
But economically, you are acting as a funding source for their empires. You are helping the landlord pay off his mortgage. You are boosting Netflix's stock price.
Yeah.
You are the employee funding their asset ownership.
Wow. That is a bleak way to look at my checking account. I'm basically just a pass-through entity for other people's wealth.
Until you pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Pay yourself first means taking a cut off the top for your own future.
Okay.
You are funding the asset owner you are becoming before you fund anyone else's business. If you pay everyone else first and only save what's left, you are explicitly declaring that your financial freedom is the lowest priority in your life.
That is a tough pill to swallow. But practically speaking, let's look at the listener who is tight on money. They hear this and say, that's a nice philosophy, but if I pay myself first and then I can't pay rent, I get evicted.
It's a valid fear. But that brings us to the concept of engineering scarcity.
I like that turn. It sounds intentional.
It is. When you move money out of your main account immediately on payday, you create a situation where you feel broke. You look at your balance, and it's lower than you're used to.
Right.
This triggers that survival instinct we talked about earlier.
So instead of using that adaptability to spend more, we use it to survive on less.
Exactly. Humans are incredible survival machines. If the environment says there is $200 less in this account, you will unconsciously adjust. You'll pack a lunch.
Skip the happy hour.
You will figure it out. But if that $200 is sitting there, you will spend it on something you won't even remember next Tuesday.
I think we have all been there. But I have to ask about the failure mode here. Because I've definitely done the thing where I try to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I move $500 to savings on the 1st. And then on the 22nd, I'm overdrawn. And I have to shamefully transfer it back.
The transfer of shame.
It is the worst feeling. It feels like failure.
It is failure in a sense. It's motion, not progress. And that is exactly why step 5, stabilizing the cash flow, had to come before this step. You can't engineer scarcity if you're already drowning.
Yeah.
If you are doing the transfer of shame, it just means you skip step 5, go back, plug the leaks, then come back to step 6.
Okay, so assuming we're stable, how do we build this saving muscle? Because willpower, it's a finite resource. If I have to decide to save every month, eventually I'm going to have a bad day or it's my birthday and I'm just not going to do it.
If the system relies on you making a good decision every month, the system is broken.
So
it must be automated. The specific action for step 6 is setting up a standing order.
An automatic transfer.
It's non-negotiable.
Right.
It must happen on the exact day your salary hits. We're trying to hide the money from your present self before you can emotionalize it.
Right.
It needs to vanish into your future before you even see it.
Okay, so we automate it. Now for the million-dollar question. How much? Because for a beginner, the standard advice of save 20% might be impossible.
And this is where Tamir's approach is very forgiving. He uses the gym analogy. For step 6, the amount is almost irrelevant.
Wait, really? Is there even a point to saving, say, $20? That's not going to make me a millionaire.
The goal of step 6 isn't to get rich yet. The goal is to build the identity. You don't walk into a gym and try to bench press 300 pounds on your first day.
No, you'd crush your windpipe.
You would. You start with the empty bar just to get the form right.
So it's about proving to yourself that you can do it.
It's about breaking the psychological seal. The hard truth is this. If you cannot save $10 out of 100, you will not magically save 1,000 out of 10,000. Money amplifies habits. It doesn't fix them. You have to prove to yourself that you are a saver.
That hits hard. We always think, when I have more, I'll do better. But you're saying if we don't do better now, we won't do better then.
Exactly. Consistency over intensity. It is far better to save a tiny amount automatically every single month than to save a huge amount once and then give up because it was too painful.
I want to bring up a specific scenario that I know some listeners are screaming at their speakers right now. We mentioned earlier in the series that step 8 is eliminating bad debt. But we're on step 6.
Yes.
Why on earth did we save money into a savings account earning maybe 1 or 2% interest when we have credit card debt charging us 20%? Mathematically, that's a loss. Shouldn't we pay the debt first?
If you were a spreadsheet, yes, you would pay the debt first. But you are not a spreadsheet. You are a biological creature driven by dopamine and habit. This is a controversial point in the Golden Path, but it is critical from a systems engineering perspective.
So it's a behavior modification tool.
Think about it. If you throw every spare dollar at your debt, but you haven't built the discipline to live on less than you earn, which is what saving is, what happens the moment the debt is gone?
You have a zero balance, but you still have your old spending habits.
Precisely. And you will run that debt right back up within a year. We see it all the time. By placing step 6 before debt elimination, we ensure you've built the muscle to generate a surplus. We're fixing the driver before we fix the car.
That makes sense. It's inefficient math, but it's effective psychology.
Exactly. And once that muscle is built, once you reach step 8, you will attack that debt with a ferocity you never had before.
One quick clarification before we get to the challenge. Where is this money going? Are we buying stocks? Is this crypto?
No. We are not at stage 3. We are not investing yet. This is liquid cash in a separate bank account.
Okay.
We are pooling capital to prepare for step 7, which is the emergency fund.
So don't worry about inflation eating it. Don't worry about ROI.
Not yet. The ROI here is psychological. The return on investment is the shift in your identity from employee who spends everything to asset owner who keeps capital.
Wow.
That shift is worth more than a 5% market return right now.
Okay. I think the logic is sound. We're ready to give them the mission. But before we get to the weekly challenge, we need to pause for a very important disclaimer.
Yes. Please listen closely. We are discussing financial strategies, but this content is for educational purposes only. There are no guarantees of results.
Right.
The fact that this strategy worked for Tamir Kaham or anyone else does not mean it will work for you. Everyone's circumstances, risk tolerance, and local economy are different. You must evaluate your own situation and consult qualified professionals, accountants, advisors, lawyers, before making decisions.
Thank you for that. We want you safe, not sorry. Now, let's turn this from theory into action. We don't want spectators. We want participants. What is the mission for this week?
The challenge is non-negotiable. This week, not next month, not when things settle down. This week, you need to log into your banking app.
And do what?
Set up the automatic transfer, the standing order. Move money from your checking to a separate savings account on payday.
And remember the gym analogy, don't obsess over the amount.
Just break the seal, even if it's $10, even if it's 1%. This action proves to your subconscious, I am in control, I am an asset owner in training.
It's the shift from being a victim of your expenses to being the manager of your capital.
Exactly. Step 5, seal the leaks. Step 6, fills the tank. The fuel is finally flowing.
And that sets us up perfectly for what comes next. You've started the flow of money. Now, where do we store it so it protects us?
Right.
In episode 6, the deep dive moves to step 7, establishing an emergency fund.
This is a huge milestone. We describe it as building a financial fortress. In our rocket analogy, step 7 is the stage separation moment, where you build the safety systems that allow you to truly accelerate without fear of crashing.
You do not want to miss that. It's about sleeping well at night. So make sure you're subscribed to this series so you get the steps in order. And of course, for the charts, the visuals, and to see Tamir break this down himself, you need to check out the YouTube channel.
It is the best way to visualize the system. The channel is The Golden Path to Financial Independence.
And for those of you trying to find the handle directly, it is youtube.com at TamirGoldPath.
That's Tamir Goldpath.
Or just search The Golden Path to Financial Independence. Go set up that standing order, build that muscle.
See you in episode 6, where we build your financial safety net.